Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Altaze, and before I start the video, I just want to say thank you to every single one of you guys. You guys are honestly the best. Like, the amount of support I got while I was in the hospital was truly insane. When I say this, I mean it. I got like thousands of people in my mentions, DMs, Snapchat, whatever, telling me to get better. You know, it's just insane. Like, the amount of support I got while I was in the hospital was truly nuts. Like, I couldn't believe it. So I'm going to explain to you guys what happened and what that whole situation's like, because I know on Twitter I didn't really explain it too well. I just kind of said, like, I got my spleen removed and nobody really knew why. I have, like, this week off from school called President's Week. I get this whole week off and we go up to my cabin up in Tahoe, and I just go snowboarding. And usually I have a lot of friends up there that go with me this year, but me being the youngest, I have to go up alone, so I'm kind of just like doing my own thing on the slopes. I'm at the top of the mountain and I'm going like through the trees, and I cut back out and I hit this little side jump a little bit too fast and I land it, but I still have a lot of speed and I'm coming up on a rail, and I really wanted to hit this rail, so I 180 onto the rail, and then I tried to 180 back off of the rail. And while coming off the rail, I had a really sloppy landing. And if you've ever been snowboarding, you know, like, when you're off balance, you just start flailing your arms, like the wacky inflatable arm guys out of like the used car dealerships and stuff like that. And so like I come off and I landed and I'm like really like off balance, and then I just catch an edge on the front of my board, and it just causes me to land directly on my left shoulder and just kind of roll down the mountain. So this is right next to a terrain park, so there's a ski patrol guy that like monitors, makes sure everybody's okay when they fall. And you know, he saw me fall and he like comes up to me, he's like, "Oh, are you alright, man?" And I told him, I was like, "Yeah, you know, I can't really like move my shoulder." So he takes off my jacket and he's like looking at it, and I only have like a t-shirt on under it, and he's like, I think you dislocated your shoulder, so I'm gonna try to pop it back in." And I was just sitting there, and I didn't think he was gonna do it like right then, but literally. And I thought like we're gonna go back down the mountain into like this little hut, the medical area, and they're gonna pop it back in there. But he's just like as I'm about to ask him, like, "Do you need me to go back down the mountain?" he just pops it back in, like without even like warning me, and it just kind of pops back in, and it hurt a lot. And so he's like, "You know, anything else wrong with you? Do you want to get checked out down there?" And I was like, no, I'm fine. It's just like a bad fall. I'll be all right." And so I'm like kind of sitting there collecting myself, and like I notice I have like this really sharp pain in the left side of my abdomen. And for me, I just thought, I was like, I just took a bad fall. I don't really need to go to the hospital or anything. So I call my mom and I tell her, I'm like, "Hey, can you pick me up at the lodge? I'm in a lot of pain. I took a bad fall." And she's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll be there at any moment." And so she picks me up, and this happened around 12 o'clock, so like lunchtime, right? So we go home, and I'm chilling in bed for about like 6 hours, and I'm on like some Advil and ibuprofen and stuff like that, and it's really not working because I still have this sharp pain in the back of my shoulder, and it's killing me, right? And I still have that pain in my stomach. And at like 8 o'clock or so, I kind of said to my mom, I was like, "You know, listen, we have to go to the hospital. Like, I'm in a lot of pain." So we go to the hospital, and they like sit me down, they're talking to me, and I explain to them what happened. And they're like, "Okay, well, your shoulder fine?" I'm like, yeah, it was dislocated, but the guy popped back into place." I originally going in there, the worst case scenario I thought was they're gonna have to dislocate my shoulder and then relocate it again, but I was fucking wrong. I couldn't be more wrong, honestly. Like, the fuck. So they're like, "All right, we're gonna give you a CAT scan and then some x-rays." And I'm like, all right, never really done, like, I've had x-rays for like my teeth and stuff, but never for like a shoulder or a CAT scan. Like, that shit's kind of scary to me. And you know, me being like a pretty big person, like not like fat, but like, all right, I'm fat, but anyway, like I was a pretty big person, so I'm a pretty big person, so it's really tight in the CAT scan or whatever, and it's kind of scary. And so after I get the CAT scan, x-rays done, I'm literally on a gurney in the middle of the hallway because all the rooms are full. So I'm just sitting in the middle of the hallway, and my mom has to stay out in the waiting room, so I'm just sitting there like twiddling with my thumbs for like 30 minutes. And then so finally, like, I hear like the doctor in the other room with the nurse, and he's like, "Holy shit." And when you're in the hospital and you just get a CAT scan done, that is the exact opposite of what you want to hear. You don't want to hear the doctor say, "Oh shit." And so I started freaking out. I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna fucking die. And so he confronts me, and he's like, "So listen, it looks like you shattered your spleen and you have a lot of blood in your abdomen. We're gonna have to get you airlifted over to the Reno Trauma Center." And my dad lives in Reno, so they bring my mom back. My mom tells my dad, and she's like, "Oh, your son's an idiot. He almost killed himself. He's gonna be up in the hospital near you. Can you go meet him there? Because I have to drive over there. He's getting taken by helicopter." These two guys come in, put me on a gurney, push me out to the parking lot, and they put me inside this ambulance, and we drive off to this field where a helicopter is waiting for me. And so remember, it's like 10 o'clock at night right now. I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and it's like 15 degrees outside, and they're pushing me across a grass field to get me inside of a helicopter. So they all lift me up, they put me inside the helicopter, and it was pretty cool. Like, It was just the pilot and then 2 other people in the back, and the 2 other people in the back were telling me they were like constantly trying to get me to do drugs. Like, I don't know what it was. Like, they were like, hey man, you know, we already got your IV in. If you ever need like painkillers right now, we can hook you up. We got it. And I was like, nah, I'm good right now. I'm not in any pain, because like I just got loaded up with painkillers before they put me in a helicopter. And he's like, are you sure, man? They're pretty fun. And I honestly didn't think he was actually saying this. Like, it was so fucking weird. But anyway, so like we're flying over into Reno, and it was pretty sick because like now it's like 10:30ish, whatever, and we're like 20 feet above the street, like right next to this casino, and then like about to fly and land onto the trauma center, and like you could just see like the whole city lit up. It was pretty dope. Definitely worth it for getting my spleen out. So anyway, so they pushed me inside of the hospital, and immediately people are just fucking putting IVs into me and asking me questions. What happened? And now there's like 20 people around me asking me like a ton of fucking questions, and I'm just sitting there like, yeah, I'm a fucking retard. I just fell snowboarding. I'm in a lot of pain, and they haven't told me really what's wrong. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, all I know is that my spleen is like fucking bleeding or some shit. And they're like, oh, okay, well, that's nice. And so like after like everybody takes their notes or some shit, it's only this nurse and 1 other guy in there, and they cut off my favorite fucking shirt. Like literally my favorite shirt they had to fucking cut off. So they cut off my favorite shirt ever, and the girl nurse is like taking off my pants, and I swear like after she pulled down my underwear, she had like a good 15 to 10 second glance at my dick, and then like I kind of like made eye contact with her, and she looked away like right after that, and it was hella funny. They put me into my own room, and since I'm 17 years old, they can't do anything to me without my parents' signature. So they had to wait for my dad or mom to get there. I'm just sitting in that room alone, and I'm just like kind of thinking about life. Like, I don't really know what the fuck's gonna happen. I don't know how bad it is. As I'm thinking this to myself, the surgeon walks in, and he looked like a pretty nice guy. You know, he shakes my hand, fucking squeezes the hell out of it as like I can't do anything. He's like, so listen, Matthew, I don't know if they told you how bad it is, but on a scale of 1 through 5 on how bad, 5 being the worst, yours is a 6. And I'm like, well, what the fuck does that mean? He's like, you shattered your spleen into 3 places, and there's lots of blood in your abdomen, and we're gonna have to go in, take out your spleen, and like, I think he said like, and he said like he was gonna have to refilter the blood through my body or some shit. I don't know, it was crazy like what he was telling me. And so he leaves me alone in the room, and I'm just like thinking to myself like, and he tells me, he's like, you know, there's a lot of blood in your abdomen right now, and we're not sure if you're gonna make it through the procedure. And being told that at 17 years old, that you might not make it to see tomorrow, is fucking crazy. And I had to wrap my head around that, and it was really hard. I was like, wow, this could be like the last time I'm fucking doing anything. And I remember my dad comes in, and I could tell like they already talked to him about like what was happening, because he just seemed like distraught, and I've never like really seen my dad like that. So he comes in, he talks to me, and like the whole time I'm talking to him, I'm just thinking like, is this the last time like I'm gonna see my dad? And it was just really sad. So yeah, they go and do the procedure, and I wake up in the hospital, and I just wake up looking down at like this huge scar down the middle of my chest. It's about like 7-8 inches long with like staples in it and shit. Yeah, it was. And then so from then, I wake up to the surgeon, and he's like, so listen, we successfully removed your spleen. There was no way we could save it. There was too much damage. And he said, I had 3.5 liters of blood in my abdomen. Here, let's look up how much blood. How many liters of blood in human body? So there's like 4.7 to 5.5 liters of blood in the human body, and I had 3.5 in my fucking abdomen. So, and then anyway, after he talks to me, he explains like how like all the shit like I can't do anything for like 6 weeks. I'm gonna miss school for a couple weeks, and a lot of stuff like that. Or I asked my mom for my phone, and I type out this long paragraph, and I didn't proofread it because I was still like on a ton of drugs, and I accidentally said I shattered my spline, and I spelled spleen wrong. So people thought like I didn't have this spine for like the first 2 days when I was in the hospital. It was hella funny. But yeah, no, it was just my spleen. I shouldn't say just my spleen, because the fucking organ that filters your blood and helps you not like get sick or shit. But so now I have 2 less organs than the average human. Isn't that fucking crazy?
No, no, no. They want me dead or alive. They